Hey guys, I'm really bad at not being distracted by other things when I should be working on my comics. There's a lot of time where I'm just like sitting on Twitter or, I don't know, playing with the pets when I should be working. It's really hard, don't get me wrong. So if you're at a place where you're like, I can't work, I'm just getting distracted all the time. It's the worst. Like, I'm there with you, friend. It's a constant struggle. But I have developed some strategies to keep myself on task and doing my comics. So I will share them with you and hopefully they help you as well, because we want to get our comics done because it's really rewarding and it's really fun. So here we go. So my number one recommendation is to do timed work sessions. I kind of do this with my video work because I need footage for this video that's going to come out, whether it's tomorrow or this week or something. So I have to sit down, I have to put on a timer, and I have to record my work. So if that's something you need to do, you can always record it, but you can also just sit down with a timer and draw for, 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And the reason this is so great and effective, I think, is because you're not expected to sit at your computer or your page or whatever for like 3 hours. And because that is a lot to expect of yourself. You're probably going to sit down and be like, this is boring, or I hate it, or I'd rather just do something else instead of forcing myself to do this like boring thing for 3 hours. So if you set a timer for a short amount of time, let's say 20 minutes, that's not a lot of time. If you sit down and you're drawing and you just have to stay for 20 minutes, if you hate it, that's only 20 minutes of your time. Then you can go off and do whatever you want. You can hang out on Twitter or YouTube or go play some basketball. I don't know. But usually what I find is when I sit down and I start and I just set the 20-minute timer, is the first 5 minutes I'm like, oh, I hate this. I want to go do something else. I want to go do something fun. But then by the end I'm like, oh, drawing's fun. Who knew? And then usually I'll set another timer and then I only have to stay there for 20 minutes until eventually I get bored. So sitting there, doing a short timer can really, really help. I've called it, my friends and I call it tomato time. It comes from the Pomodoro technique, where you just sit down, you work for 20 minutes, then you take a 10-minute break, then you work for 20 minutes, you take a 10-minute break, etc. It's nice little timed, really focused sessions so that you don't let your mind wander, and they're so small and bite-sized you can do them any time of day. It's great. Highly recommend those. That's my number one tool for fighting distractions. Number two, I definitely recommend getting a friend group or anyone you can trust to keep you accountable for getting your work done. I have this with Bones. If I'm not working and I have a deadline coming up, he's like, yo, sit down and get your work done. If you're ever on our live streams, you always hear him like, Ursula, do your art. So that works for me because Bones and I work together. That's worked out well. He really helps encourage me to get my work done, and sometimes he'll sit me down in the chair to make sure I get the work done. I also have it I've worked with a writing group before. A bunch of our friends would get together, we'd sit down and write. I'd also draw during that time. But we do those time sessions together. If someone wasn't working, we tap them on the shoulder and be like, get back to work. And it's really fun and can make it a lot more engaging and fun. And you can turn it into a fun night where you get to be social and you get to do your work. So I also recommend that. And if you're at a point in your life where you don't have someone in person who can do this for you, I would recommend going to our Discord server. There should be a link in the description down below, but basically we have a channel where you can sit down and do timed work sessions together, and there's lots of lovely creative people on there who would love to talk to you about webcomics and help you get your work done. So go check that out if you need someone to help you stay accountable. And finally, sometimes what I really need is to just turn off the internet. Sometimes I go and I turn off my Wi-Fi so that I cannot go look at Twitter or YouTube. I just have to sit and do my art, and I put on a timer. When that timer's done, I can turn the Wi-Fi back on, but until then, I gotta get my work done, and I find that very effective for days where I'm just getting distracted by everything. Sometimes you gotta give yourself a little tough love. So sometimes you gotta unplug. You darn Gen Zers, I don't know. Hello, I am Grandma Millennial. Ooh woo. But yeah, I found all those kind of neat little tricks you can do, which are very helpful. However, I do find sometimes if I'm distracted, it's not just because I'm feeling lazy or like it's not just because I have a short attention span or something. Sometimes I can be distracted because there's something important I need to deal with, whether it's like emotionally or environmentally. So for example, sometimes I'm distracted and I can't focus on work because I'm really stressed or I'm burnt out or some like really hard stuff is going on in my life that I just can't get past. And it's hard to be productive when you're feeling depressed or anxious or sad. So sometimes I need to take a break. Like if I'm feeling really burnt out, sometimes I just can't work that day and I need to accept that and still be okay with myself. And that's a really important lesson you might need to learn if you're beating yourself up for procrastinating. Sometimes you can't work because it's just too emotionally taxing that day, and that's okay. So usually I'll find if I'm having a day where I'm really just upset, I need to take a break and just do some self-care before I sit down and get my art done. And sometimes even just acknowledging like, oh, you know what? I'm not getting my work done because I'm stressed is just the thing I need to make me sit down and do some artwork. So just be mindful of how you're feeling. And I can also find if there's something in the environment, like in the room around me, that can be really distracting. So for example, if, like I really want to talk to Bones or the pets are being really distracting. Like sometimes our cats are just sticking their nose in everything and you have to go chase them out so they don't eat your cords or your food, or the dogs are doing that and sticking their nose in everything or chewing on something you don't want them to get. So you gotta go chase the pets around. There's lots of like distracting, noisy things in the environment. Sometimes I need to just like put the cats in a room or go lock myself in a different room so that I'm not chasing the cats all over the house and just give myself 20 minutes to work on my art. Sometimes you just need to remove yourself from a distracting situation. So that's okay. And another thing that can really stop me from doing my work is if I'm in physical pain or if I'm not comfortable. So I do get a lot of like back pain and muscle pain from I work a desk job during the day, so like 8 hours a day I'm sitting at a desk, and then I come home and I sit at a desk for longer working on my art. So I get a lot of back pain, or I get wrist pain or shoulder pain because sitting in the same position forever is bad for you. So sometimes I need to get up and stretch. Sometimes I need to work in a different position. So maybe like I can work standing or I can work laying down. Or maybe I need to take a break because it's just too physically taxing on myself. Sometimes I can't work because I'm cold. Sometimes it's hard and distracting when you're working and it's the middle of winter and your feet are cold and you need some little warm slippers so that you're comfortable so you can do your work. So take care of your body and make sure that you're comfortable when you're working. Number one, so you don't break yourself later and make your muscle pain worse. But also those things are distracting. So make them better. There you go. I really hope that helps. I believe in you. Distractions are really hard. There's lots of reasons why you can be distracted. So if you need to take a break, that's okay. Just quit beating yourself up about it. You're human and art should be fun. And I am totally there with you if you're procrastinating and doing other stuff. Ooh woo. But I believe in you. I think you can do it. I think you can get your comics done. You're wonderful people, powerful people, and you're doing great work. So keep it up. And thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe if you want more videos about comics and creativity. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.